When I made this video, I mentioned that the highest possible point value in Expedition mode is 9,234 points as Saint, and that I'd try streaming that challenge. Well, I did, and it went pretty well, actually. Had I not lost my Karma Flower to a red lizard, I probably would have finished it then. But I did fail it, and I spent several days off stream trying to finish it. And that took a little while, but I did finish it, and this is how I did it. To start off, you need to get the correct challenges. To do this, start by setting your challenges to only hunting challenges and randomize at max difficulty until you get kill 15 cyan lizards. Then add the next lowest score challenge out of these 4 and multiply by 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, or 1.4, depending on how many challenges you have left. As an example, Karma lizards is 444 points. I add 444 to 182, then multiply by 1.1, getting 688.6, which rounds up to 689. I then randomize this challenge until I get 689 or higher. If I get a number higher than 689, then I take that number, divide by 1.1, add 444 again, and multiply by 1.2, and then randomize until I get that number or higher. If I did get 689, I would then move on to kill 15 vultures, which is 606. I would take 182 plus 444, the two challenges that I know I already have, add 606 on top of that, and multiply by 1.2 to get 1478. Keep repeating this process until you get 4,049 points. Then enable all the burdens and you should be at 9,234. These burdens are going to massively increase the difficulty of the challenge, except for one that actually makes it easier. Blinded makes the world dark, enables nighttime spawns, which are mainly Myos Vultures, and makes it difficult to see in certain areas and pretty much necessitates the Neuron Glow perk. Doomed means you can't die, like, at all. You die without a Karma Flower, that's it, game over. You get to live out a Slugcat Isekai, but challenge failed. Hunted is also, Hunted is a big problem. It straight up just teleports threats in the area to dens near you, and then they go to the room you're in. They don't know your exact location at all times, but they'll move to your room, and that could make areas just impossible to traverse. Like, you can't get through this. However, Pursued gives you access to your best friend, the God Centipede. He's a real one. He is your constant companion in this deadly, unforgiving world. No matter where you go, he'll be there for you. Need to distract a Myos Vulture? He's got your back. Borrow a 20? No problem. Kill off vultures and lizards for you, giving you the kill credit? Wouldn't even hesitate. Need to infiltrate British Parliament? He's already MP of Newark. He might be a bit clingy, but you just need to be firm and let him know when you need some distance. If he falls off a cliff or is taken away by a Myos Vulture, he won't despawn or reappear for the rest of the cycle. Befriending the God Centipede is a massive help. And as far as perks, I wouldn't do it without these 8. Neuron Glow to offset the blinded burden, a back spear to deal with centipedes and save ammunition, a Karma Flower because I just like lemon flavored snacks, explosion resistance because it is absurdly difficult to kill Myos Vultures without it, explosive jump and parry because parrying is your main defense against enemies, item crafting to make explosives, a lantern to keep warm and eat meals, combine a blue fruit and a rock to make a flashbang, and then a flashbang with a rock to make a lantern, high agility because and a gun. The gun is a major help for this challenge, and it would be borderline impossible without it simply because of how difficult it is to defend yourself. I can use spears to kill things. Saint does monk damage in Expedition mode, although the spear range is rather pathetic, and by using exploding spears and patience, you could theoretically kill all of the enemies you need. But that would be exceptionally difficult on top of an already very difficult challenge. The gun should be loaded with debris. Don't put grenades in it, and be careful not to put fruit in it when you're trying to eat it. And always keep track of where you put it. If you lose the gun, it'll be almost impossible to beat this challenge. Immediately after spawning in, I always beeline it straight to either Industrial Complex, Outskirts, or Silent Construct. I need to kill 15 Cyan Lizards, 15 Karma Lizards, 15 Vultures, 15 Myos Vultures, and 15 Myos Birds. Cyan Lizards and Vultures are pretty much everywhere. Karma Lizards are mostly found in farmways and outskirts. Myos Vultures are everywhere, but good locations to kill them are not. And Myos Birds are only feasible to kill in Silent Construct. Now, Myos Birds do spawn in Subterranean. In fact, they're very easy to kill there, easier than in Silent Construct. However, with the Hunted burden, Subterranean is just unplayable. The game will lag and crash due to the number of enemies and AI that it's keeping track of, and on crashing, it'll count as a save and quit and you'll lose your Karma Flower. And now, the next time you die permanently. Do not go to Subterranean. All of the enemies I need to kill, except for the Myos Vultures, can simply be stun-locked by the gun and shot to death. Cyan Lizards are quite weak and easily stunned and knocked off of cliffs. I tended to get the kills in Industrial Complex, and these two rooms here. Blast them off a ledge and you'll get the kill credit. You can even parry them off and it'll count. For Vultures, you pretty much just need to lay into them with a gun. Once you dump a good amount of bullets into them, I usually did around 50, you can drop the gun and use your back spear to finish them off to save ammo. The God Centipede can also come in for the kill too. I just need to make sure to shoot them with a bullet close to when they get shocked or else I won't get the kill credit. For Karma Lizards, I use this shelter near drainage and outskirts and head to the left 2 rooms. By baiting the Karma Lizards into the water here, they become extremely easy to kill. Karma Lizards can't really swim at all, they just kind of flop around down there. They might spit a little bit, but they're harmless enough in the water. They are quite tanky though. You can also line up shots in the other rooms nearby, just be wary of the other enemies. Myos birds are pretty much the same story. You just line up shots and... Also, be sure to never kill a Myos Filter in a spot that covers your exit. You gotta get back to the shelter after you kill them. And lastly, Myos Filters are immensely difficult to kill. Grenades, you use grenades. Gun doesn't work, they don't get stunned. You need to line up a grenade throw over a ledge so that they get stunned and fall to their death. This area in Industrial Complex has cherry bombs to make grenades and 2 rooms with great Myos Filter killing pits. You can lead them into this spot here and blast them off a ledge, or use the spot below the cherry bombs. It's not 100% consistent, but it works very well. Don't throw the grenade when the Myos Filter is directly rammed against the room transition, or it'll send you flying off to the left and you'll die. There does seem to be some sort of fear or aversion aspect, where after killing around 12 in this room, they just stopped coming. I had to spread the kills out between these 2 rooms to avoid that. Now, Myos Filters will sneak snop you, and they will drop whatever they are carrying to sneak snop you instead if you get close to them. They can follow you through thin tunnels, they can go between rooms, you cannot get away from them. They never stop coming for you, they never stop following you, they never stop! Hitting a Myos Filter will cause them to start charging up their explosive attack. This prevents them from sneak snopping for a brief time, although they will still try to ram you with their body. You can buy a moment to escape with this, and parrying them will cancel their explosive attack and stun them. I've tried throwing spears into them and then parrying them before the explosive goes off, and then repeating before they can sneak snop, and you could probably kill one like this with a lot of difficulty, but it's never worked out long enough for me. I found these 3 shelters to be the ideal locations to hunt these enemies. At the Industrial Complex entrance near Outskirts, go up here to this shelter. 1 room to the left and up, there's the Batfly room, which is a great place to kill Myos Filters and only has some orange lizards in it. Past that is the Cherry Bomb room, where you can craft explosives, and that room has some center wings in it. Keep going down and there are several popcorn plants, and you can use the popcorn seeds to craft vulture grubs if you wait for the blizzard to pop them. Then in this room you've got fruit, and there's 5 more fruit in this room, and the paths interconnect to allow you to get back to the shelter in multiple ways if one path is too crowded. Cyan lizards will show up and be easily killed, and vultures will arrive as well. If you die, it's very easy to get your karma flower back too. However, you need to be very careful that you do not shoot your karma flower off a ledge. It is all too easy to do if you die up in the Batfly room. And importantly, you can utilize an exploit to allow Saint to eat Batflies, and there are Batflies right here. By eating Batflies as a meal, Saint will still suffer the same negative effects and gain no food from the Batfly. What? However, you do still get the 1 bonus food from eating a meal, which ultimately means you get 1 food from eating the Batfly. And by holding the Batfly in my right hand, I won't eat the fruit in my left hand, and this is because, I think, the game eats the food in your right hand just a few frames before the food in your left hand, and since you get stunned by eating the Batfly, it cancels eating the food in your other hand. So, by doing this, you can effectively just catch and eat Batflies. You can even earn the Hunter Passage by doing this. So you've got a loop of several rooms that don't have very many enemies in it initially, with multiple paths back to the shelter, lots of food, very good terrain and tools to kill the enemies, and you can easily get your karma flower back if you die. There's a similar spot in Outskirts near the drainage system shelter. This one is a bit more crowded and a lot more dangerous, but I could not find a better place to kill caramel lizards. You will have to deal with numerous caramel and orange lizards, a strawberry lizard, a red lizard, Myos and regular vultures, and a lot of centipedes. The lizards will often have their dens set to these 2 rooms randomly at the start of cycles due to the hunted burden, which means to get out of the shelter you very well may have to go past a red lizard, caramel lizards, and strawberry lizards. The safe path is to go up and to the left. This room only has a strawberry in it, and other lizards won't have their dens moved here. And the room past it has no enemies in it naturally and is where you want to go. The bottom path to the left is faster, and it has fruit to grab on the way, but in doing it I likely will have to get past several random lizards, including possibly a red lizard. Now if I get past them, it will draw their attention and they'll follow me, making it easier to trap the caramels in the water down here. There are many Batflies in this room, which the strawberry lizard tends to get distracted by, and you can hunt for food. There's a lot of fruit down below, and this tunnel to the undergrowth tends to have a lot of debris to use for ammo. Using the same Batfly eating exploit, I can keep myself fed very easily. Myos Vultures will show up sometimes, and this is actually the only time I've ever seen a God Centipede win against a Myos Vulture. By bringing it down into the water, it can do an AoE shock on another enemy and deal 20 damage to the Myos Vulture indirectly, which is just enough to kill it. But this is quite rare to occur, and Myos Vultures almost always win the exchange when fighting. Getting between regions is always the most dangerous part of the run. They might not look it, but these 2 shelters are pretty much as safe as the world is going to get. It is very dangerous traveling between them. You don't really know what's going to be waiting in the next room or how to get past it, and if you die, your karma flower is not going to be in a good place to retrieve it. But by using these 2 shelters, I can kill 15 cyan lizards, 15 vultures, 15 Myos vultures, and 15 caramel lizards. And that leaves just the Myos birds. So that means we're off to Silent Construct through Industrial Complex. It's a very good idea to be on good terms with scavengers by this point, and by just fighting alongside them and shooting at what's attacking them, you can get a lot of chieftain progress very easily. Granted, even if you're on good terms with them, they're still pretty dangerous to be around. I go to this shelter here because it's right next to the Myos birds and it has a lot of food. Unlike the other shelters, there's only one path back to here though, and I can't stick around forever because it will get too crowded. Shooting Myos birds is easy, it's keeping them stun locked that's tricky. Spots like this are ideal, anywhere you can cling out of reach and shoot them consistently. Between the lasagna and the fruit here, it's pretty easy to stay fed too. And with that, the challenge is done. After making it back to the shelter intact, that's all 9,234 points. And boy, it's not very fun to do. Saint is just not very fun for stuff like this. The gun gets old, Myos Filters are super annoying, and the other slug cats would just be more fun, in my opinion. Monk is the next highest point value, and then the rest of them like this. I might do some multiplayer high point expeditions, like the Hunter one I did earlier this week. These ones at least you can play as a fun slug cat with competent weaponry. But for now, this is... Who the hell is... Oh,